filming a show with this little guy in such a cramped space isn't the easiest thing in the world, but you know what? Such is a labor of love. So, time for my auspicious op-ed. This one is titled A Mega Classical Transcendental Absurdist Understanding of Current Events. And here it goes. I hope these words inspire you guys to make some words of your own and to really take some action on these matters, because we got to do this from the bottom up, not from the top down. They have no incentive to help us. They have every incentive to depopulate us just so they can take our stuff. And on to the op-ed. Over the past 18 months of receiving the vast amounts of information I have from my most auspicious algorithmic informant, Magic 8-Ball, it is safe to say that many of my former stances and views have entered into many new stages of refinement, reform, innovation, and transformation, just as rapidly as new understanding and insight takes hold. I wish to take some time and elaborate on some of the new things I have been learning. Looking at the past and present through a mega classical lens has been crucial to holding still unfolding timeline scenarios to a deep dynamic continuity and contextual account of relevant connections between pieces to this enormous multidimensional mosaic we're all decoding here together. A mega classical lens will have you focusing on evolutions, deviations, and continuity of events from what is proposed as the Neolithic era, just after the last ice age, basically, all the way up to current times, while including a plethora of crucial data not acknowledged publicly by the powers that be. The only other pieces required to understand how I have focused said mega classical lens is to hold your area of focus on matters to be evaluated with a distinct highlight on the transcendence of the absurdity that can empower our efforts for a much better and brighter future. Transhumanism, globalism, depopulation, mental side, and the very artificial, highly suspect data age that has been thrust onto everyone did not just come from nowhere. The origins of this anti-human agenda date back much further than my mega classical lens could possibly focus in on. But let us all assume that whatever is going on currently is probably similar to accounts of Atlantis or Lemuria. In the age we're currently residing, I think placing an increased effort in focusing on Tartaria and the many reset wars that happened throughout the 1800s and early 20th century will provide the highest chances of rebuilding all of the basic human necessities that the psychopathic cabal overseeing the currently unfolding multi-pronged assault on all natural organic life from every substance and sensory standpoint they could discover a way to exploit. Let me be the first to tell you that if their big moves have been in century-sized increments thus far, it truly shouldn't take but a mere fraction of that to bring it to its knees. Once you can see and understand the big picture, all manufactured narratives become laughable at best and malevolently insulting or recklessly negligent at worst. Now that we've gotten all the heavy part out of the way, let me tell you what I am most looking forward to about being a part of starting the new cycle or the next era here on Earth. The first thing is that it has been a relief that the vast majority of our experience here has been but a mere speck in comparison to what our existence would be like here if we were living as God, nature, or our species were intended. I highly doubt that we were intended to live under the values imposed on us that appear to be anti-life, anti-organic, and anti-natural. It would also appear that those idiot lizards in charge didn't understand that once they revealed themselves to be a legitimate threat to all organic life, especially that which is spiritual in nature, we would quickly be able to point at the sources and causes of all discontent quickly and clearly. Another great facet I have discovered is just how unlearned and under-researched these highly credentialized characters truly are, which would indicate that now knowing their only tactics are intimidation, bribery, and lies, and that's the baseline they operate from, drastically and dramatically reduces any respect, tolerance, clout, or other forms of compliance and enablement they have been fraudulently gleaning from repression, sheltering, ignorance, and self-censoring, etc., that they ultimately demand as their tribute or penance. The last major takeaway that has relieved me in recent times is that just about every part of our contemporary way of life is extremely damaging to one's health. So, in all honesty, most practices need to be reduced greatly or stopped entirely based on their danger or toxicity. Moving on to new ways of life is much easier when the old ways are literally killing or debilitating the vast majority of us prematurely due to radiation, poisons, and contaminants that come as a side effect to the average post-industrialized existence. Upon knowing that this method is the only one they have and that it is only effective when people are in the dark, should be more motivation to share information on these matters as far and wide as we possibly can, while stating we know exactly what the intentions, goals, and justifications are so that we might squelch them most quickly. Truth, freedom, and sovereignty are what they are after for one reason and one reason only. It is the only way that those who invented systems to surpass systems can game the system within the system. If we don't have any dependency or need for their game, not only does the system lose all relevance, the inventors, regulators, managers, and legislators will be seen as the fraudulent drafters of a supposed social contract that is antisocial in nature, to say the very least. This is why representative democracy especially should raise a red flag when you really look at what is going on at the end of the day. Those who dedicated their life to paying for permission slips in the form of multiple degrees and schmoozing taught the entire world that they only respect people who bought their way through the world. It's that simple, everyone. And that is today's Auspicious Op-Ed.